Hello everybody. Today we'll be discussing about NS3 program to simulate the wireless communication, including the bus topology what we discussed in the previous sessions. So here also we'll be applying the UDP protocol itself, whereby we'll be creating one client and one server in the among the set of nodes, right? So by applying the UDP protocol, we'll be achieving the client server communication among the set of devices which are connected as a wireless bodies and also wired bodies which are created in the bus topology form. So this is the topology, a reference topology we are using in this simulation. As such, we'll be keeping two nodes as a point-to-point nodes. Those two nodes will be connected by using a point-to-point link, and we'll be keeping further few more nodes as a CSMA nodes, and whereby creating the bus topology and couple of nodes as a wireless nodes which are connected in a wireless fashion. So before we begin with this lecture, so about the experiment related to this part, which is creating two nodes as a point to point and couple of nodes as CSMA nodes and connecting as in the form of a bus topology and simulating. So that we have discussed in the previous session, which you can go through in my YouTube channel. So where we discussed in detail how to simulate that bus topology in NS3, whereby a combination of point to point and also CSMA. So that we discussed in the previous session. So kindly go through this before we continue with the current experiment. Okay. Now here when we say that we if apart from the previous experiment for this experiment, so this is an additional thing which we are going to learn in this session, how to add wireless nodes or wireless devices to the existing wired nodes which are connected in the form of point to point and the bus topology. So when you talk about wireless, so it can be either where you may be creating the wireless communication network without making use of access point or with making use of access point. What happens if you create the nodes? It is purely in form of ad hoc mode where you don't need any third party like an access point to control over this network. Every communication body can exchange the data directly. So whereas in this case, so whereas the devices are communicating or devices are connected to the central access point. So what is happening? Every communicating body should access this or should make use of this access point for their communication. This is like a Bluetooth communication where the device can exchange their data to the other device directly without interference of any intermediate device. Whereas this is like your Wi-Fi where the devices are being exchanging the data through the router, like a router which will be acting like a access point. And in this experiment, which I'll be demonstrating the wireless mechanism, which is based on this access point. That is what using access point. So in the further sessions, I'll be taking up how to create this kind of ad hoc mode in the further sessions. But in the today's session, I'll be discussing about the wireless network by using the access point. So now, as I mentioned, this already we discussed in the previous sessions as how to create the point-to-point devices or point-to-point network and followed by the bus topology. For this, we'll be attaching three more nodes in this analogy, three more nodes. So which will be considered as a wireless nodes. So now let us begin. So whenever we talk about, so how many nodes I have to place. So as a kind of illustration, so let me take up this. So I'll be keep typing whatever we'll be doing, right? So yeah. Now if you observe here, how many nodes I have to place? First, if I say that create nodes. If I say create nodes, how many types of nodes I have to create in the sense I have to create PTP nodes. So how many nodes I have to create? I have to create two nodes based on this my topology which I'm going to consider. So I'll be creating two PTP nodes and three CSMA nodes, right? And three Wi-Fi nodes. You may call it as Wi-Fi nodes directly or wireless nodes, whatever you call it as, right? So I'll be creating three wireless nodes. So that's how I'll be creating two point-to-point nodes, right? These are the two point-to-point nodes, and these are the CSMA nodes, and these are the Wi-Fi nodes. Likewise, I need to create in total 7 nodes. Okay, 8 nodes in total I have to create. Once after while creating, as I have discussed in the previous session itself, about when I discussed about the bus topology, I made it clear that so I'll be making this P1 because if I create all these three types of nodes like point-to-point nodes and CSMA nodes and Wi-Fi nodes separately, what will happen in the sense these nodes will be separate, these two nodes will be separate, and these three nodes will be separate. So it is whereby you would be creating three independent networks. There won't be any kind of intercommunication if you create independent networks. So what you have to do, you have to provide the connectivity. So what I'm going to do, I'll be making this P1 to be a pharma, to be a part of the CS family. So only among this PTP nodes, the one node which is P1, which I'll be making to be a part of the CSMA family. Similarly, this P0, which I'll be making to be a part of this wireless family. So what are all the two nodes which I have created as a PTP nodes, among which one node will be acting with which is made to be a part of wireless family, and the P1 is made to be a part of CSMA family. That's where. So that's how we'll be creating the nodes and making the nodes to be a part of the CSMA family and the wireless family. Then later I need to connect the nodes. Connect the nodes. So that is where once after the nodes are created, then I'll be taking you. This is what I mentioned. So this node I'll be considering as a access point. So because as I mentioned, this itself I'll be making to be a part of this wireless family. And also, as I mentioned in the previous slide itself, as I'll be creating the wireless communication based on the by using the access point. So among these two PTP nodes, point-to-point nodes, this I'll make it as an access point, which is fixed. It is fixed with the position. So where that I'll make it as a access point, and another set of nodes as a wireless nodes. Now you see how are we going to connect? So when I say that connect in the sense, definitely to connect this P1 and P0, I need a, so what I need, however, right? So what are the different links I'll be using? So I'll be using PTP link itself to connect what? P0 and P0 and P1. Similarly, I'll be using CSMA link to connect. What are all the nodes I'll be connecting in the sense here? I'll be connecting C. So as I mentioned, so here if you only connect C1, 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 C2, C3 by using CSMA link, so this there won't be any kind of interconnection between these nodes and these, so they will act like a independent nodes. So this will be they will act as like a independent nodes. So what you have to do, so you have to connect this P1 also to be a family of your CSMA. So I want this as well. So only I will be making this P1 also to be a family of your CSMA. So by using CSMA link, I'll be connecting what? P1 C0. P1 itself will be acting as what? C0. Is it not? Then C1, C2, yeah, C2 and C3. So likewise, these are all the nodes which are connected by using a CSMA link. Now I need one more link to connect this wireless nodes to the access point. So these links are not physical links, as where the name itself specifies. These links are not the physical links. So it is like this. So these links are not physical links, but I need the virtual links, or you call it as wireless links. So I need wireless links to connect what? To connect W0, W1 and W2 to the access point. So to connect all these, I need a wireless links. My dear student, my dear. So in the previous session, I have clearly defined and explained how to create this point-to-point link and how to create the CSML link while doing how to set the parameters, all that I have discussed in the previous video. Now in this video, I'll be stressing upon how to configure these wireless links, which is so important for you to understand, right? So in part of that, as a part of that, so when you talk about wireless links, what are all the things which you have to keep in mind? So here, if you see, this wireless family has a two types of nodes. This complete wireless family has two types of nodes. One is this access point, where it is fixed with the position. I mean, the position of this access point is fixed. Whereas these three nodes which are movable, these three nodes are movable. So position is not fixed. These can be movable. When these three nodes can movable, or they can they can keep changing the position. Then even how to connect. So that is where you have to very have to be clear. So what I'm trying to convey. So the PTP link and CSMA link explanation what we discussed in the previous session. Now I'm stressing upon the wireless links which I'll be using to connect these nodes. When I say that I'll be using the wireless links to connect these nodes, you must be very clear what are the different nodes you are connecting. I'm connecting two different types of wireless nodes. One is a fixed node, which is access point, and the three movable nodes, which is wireless nodes. When I say that link, right? When I say that wireless link, it is for providing the interface, right? It is for providing the interface. So how exactly we have to deal with here in the sense, remember one thing, in the means of your interfacing your, we have a standard OSI model. We have a standard OSI model which has 7 layers, or you can consider TCP IP model. So it can be for your wired network, or it can be wireless network. Keep one thing in mind, that the above 5 layers, which is application to the network layer, the functionality of these layers will be quite common between, if it is either it can be wired network or it can be wireless network. But when it comes to the data link layer and the physical layer, it is different. What I'm trying to convey, my dear, so when there are two laptops, assume there are two laptops which are sharing a file, when these two laptops have connected through wireless mode, or it can be wired mode. So they may be connected through wired or wireless. When the laptops are being communicated, I mean, so sharing the file, in which layer it differs or it varies with the functionality, in the sense, in these two layers, which is in the physical layer and the data link layer. So above upper layers, whatever, so only they are called as what, user interface layers, which is application to your session. Whereas the bottom layers, which is like most importantly physical layer and data link layer, the virtue of or the functionality of the physical layer and the data link layer quite different when you talk about the physical link, which is wired link and wireless link. So only here, as we are creating the wireless links, okay, as you're creating a wireless links, you must configure the physical layer and data link layer, right? So you must configure the physical layer and data link layer for the wireless links. When you talk about configuring the physical layer and the data link layer, even for the better explanation, I can tell you that as the data link layer, so as you know that data link layer has again two sub layers, which is LLC and the MAC layer. I repeat, LLC and the MAC layer. Among the LLC and MAC layer, which layer actually bother about the link, which is accessing link, in the sense it is the MAC layer, it is not the LLC. So whenever I say that data link layer, it is nothing else than the MAC layer. So my dear, whenever you'll be creating the wireless links, it is you need to configure this physical link and the data link specifically for your wireless links. You cannot create as same as how you created for the your point-to-point link and CSMA link as a default case. So you must configure the physical link and the data link layer, and that link, whatever the wireless link you created with after configuring physical and data link layer, that link can be used to connect the devices. Is it making sense? So that link can be used to connect these um, wireless devices. But whenever you are configuring the physical layer and the data link layer, one more thing you should keep in mind that okay, one more thing you should keep in mind that you need to create a wireless network. When you say that create a wireless, when you say that you are creating a wireless network, in the sense, so that wireless network should be identified based on some analogy. What I'm saying in the sense, any number of devices in your network, I repeat, any number of devices in your network can be definitely identified based on your IP address. But here, when you are creating the wireless network, you need one identifier. I repeat, you need one identifier to identify the wireless network, which is that identifier can be used to identify the network. Because see here, the devices can be connected like this. As I mentioned in the beginning of this lecture itself, the wireless network can be created like this without making use of access point, or you may be using the access point. In this case, the devices are directly communicating. In this case, devices are not directly communicating. Either 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 devices may be directly communicating, or they may be communicating through the access point. But what are all the devices which are part of that wireless communication? You need to be clear with that. I repeat, overall the bodies part of that wireless network communication, you need to identify them. For that, you need a separate identifier. So only while creating a wireless network, you need a separate identifier for identifying you can say that every device in a communication. So for that itself, we'll be using one very important uh, identifier, which we say that SSID. I repeat, it is SSID. Whenever you talk about this SSID, this SSID is most important. Because so when you, without this SSID, can you have any kind of other identifiers? So I would say, is it same as IP address? If you ask me, is it same as IP address in the sense? Definitely, SSID is used for identifying the devices inside a network. What network? Wireless network. But does the SSID is as same as IP address in the sense? No. IP addresses, every device will have your own, IP addresses. Whereas this SSID is called as, you can say that, service set identifier. What is the use of this? It is to identify the set of devices which are connected to that wireless network. For now, if I have to show you for my example, my dear, as you can see that you can observe that right here, all as my device, okay, my device is connected through my mobile internet. My laptop is connected through my mobile internet. So when I click on this, you can see the list of all the uh, available Wi-Fi networks, right? So these are all the SSIDs I can tell. So because see, one plus node, whatever the name you can observe right here, this is the SSID of my mobile, which is the wireless network which is created in my mobile. Which are all the devices can be connected to this, which will be family of which are the part of my mobile Wi-Fi network. So even if you want to be even see even if you want to see even in detail, let me show you. So if you think that explore more, okay, I can show you. So how for any network, okay, even in your mobile also, whenever you open your hotspot, right, when you open your hotspot and share to the multiple devices, those multiple devices are connected through what? See, my laptop is connected to my mobile device based on this is what name, right? This is what SSID. You can observe, this is what my SSID, you can observe connected. See, so one place, not all that. So even if you want to, if you are not clear, you click on this network and sharing center. Now when I click on that network and sharing center, so it will take you to the page where it will show you where the internet is accessible right now, connections. And if I click here, okay, now can you observe this SSID? Now the Wi-Fi network is connected to my laptop through this SSID. What is that SSID? Which is one plus not C. All this is right. This is what the SSID, which is SSID of my mobile phone. So in similarly, any number of nodes you'll be connecting. Okay, any number of nodes you'll be connecting to this access point will be having the same SSID. Is it not? Because all of them are connecting to the same access point. As I mentioned, now which see, as I shown here already, if I click here, see there are a lot of other services are available. I mean, say internet sources are available. But now currently which is connected, that is what the current SSID for my laptop where it is connected. Making sense? I hope it is clear. So while creating the, so while whenever you talk about you are creating a separate wireless network, in the sense, very importantly, you have to specify the SSID, which are all the bodies can be part of that, right? That's how you need to create the wireless links. Is it enough if you only configure the physical in the MAC layer, and is it enough if you only provide the SSID? Is it something else is required? In the sense, definitely something else is required. What is that which is required? In the sense, providing the movement. That's what movement you know option. I can say movement option or movable option. You can say whatever, right? Because they're all mobile nodes. So again, movement option in the sense, so you have to say that you'll be giving movement option to the only Wi-Fi nodes, whereas there was no need of no movement of for access point. Is it not? See this, I don't need to move this access point. This is fixed with the position, whereas these nodes will be keep moving. So I'll be giving the movement option to only the Wi-Fi nodes, whereas I'll not be giving any movement to the access point, right? That's how I'll be I'm done with the second step, which is connecting the nodes by using the different links. So this is very important thing which you're supposed to understand. Hope it is clear. So while creating wireless links, you must configure the physical link and data link. Why? I already told you here. So whether it is connected through the physical cable or wireless mode through the physical layer, it matters a lot for these two layers only, which is physical and data link layer. So you need to configure those layers. While configuring, you must also very importantly specify the identifier to identify the set of devices inside that. Basically, what we call it as, see, whenever you create any basic service set, or it can be extended service set, any devices which are within that basic service set are a simple wireless network. So those we usually call it as, here written as every device in a communication, right? Usually we call it as stations. So we usually call it as stations. So whenever you say that star, because in my program further I'll be using that keyword star, so don't get confused. So whenever I say star, means it is a stations, any stations which are part of wireless network. Okay, devices which are part of wireless network are called as stations. Those stations will be identified with the respective number. That number is what? SSID, service set identifier. Making sense? So that's why I'll be providing the what I'm done with the connecting the nodes. Once after I'm done with the connecting the nodes, then I'll be providing the interface. So definitely I have to, for providing the interface, as I mentioned in the previous examples also, I need to install the stack. I need to install the internet stack on all nodes. So what are all the different nodes I have created? So on all the nodes I need to install. So install what? Internet stack. Okay, you can simply say that stack, or in technical it is internet stack. I need to install internet stack. Then later you have to set the base address. So if you ask me what are the different types of base addresses you have to set here, in the sense, as there are, you can observe. Okay, you can see here as there are three types of devices here, right? So one is the point-to-point family is there, again CSMA family is there, and also wireless family is there. So I'll be using the three different types of base address. Three types of base address. I'll be using one for point-to-point devices, one more for CSMA devices, and one for this wireless devices. So in that way, I'll be using the three types of base address. Once after I am done with the setting the base address, so I'm done with providing the interface. Then I can think of applying the application. What application here we're talking about? We are talking about a client server application only. We will be making one node as a client among all these nodes. You can make any node as a client and any node as a server. And what protocol here will be using, as per the program statement, I'll be using the UDP protocol itself. Making sense? So that's how the critical point. So in overview again, I have to create the so-and-so nodes. I need to connect the those nodes by using so-and-so links. And here, in as I mentioned, these two cases we stressed upon in the previous example itself. So I'll be stressing more in about this in this video. Okay. Then again, as usual, while providing the interface, so in how to install the internet stacks and set the base addresses, and finally applying the application, which is a client server application. So which to make a client and which to make us a server. So all that you'll be looking. Okay, I hope it is clear with the theory. Let me take you to take you to the NS3 Okay, 33 NS33 and the scratch. So here you can observe. So my previous bus program is already available here. As I already quoted, again I'm repeating. So this you can understand better. So as I mentioned at the beginning of my explanation itself. So I was a part of this experiment. So this part, which is bus topology with the point to point, which already made we have discussed in the previous session. So kindly go through this. So even I had given the cases also how to check the analysis in the Wireshark and also in the network animation also I have discussed in this previous video, right? So now see this program itself, which is a bus topology program, whatever we have. So how to convert, because converting is all about this. We need to add this part extra, right? So how to do that? So let me show you that. Fine. So now let me take you to the NS3. Yeah. So let me open this. Yes, this is what the bus topology program you have. So as we see that, so this, whatever you have like a log component inside this second script or third script, or say you say that my sample script, this is no matter. I mean, say it doesn't matter with the results, right? It just a means of enabling your log component. Yeah, so now you have to, as usual, here also we will be applying the application, which is what application? Client server application itself. Okay, as we'll be applying the client server application itself. So I have to enable the log component for client, server and also client. As a client and the server application, I'll be creating the two log components, and I'll be using two P2P devices by using a node container. Similarly, I'll be creating the three CSMA nodes. Is it not? We discussed this, right? So with three CSMA nodes and this P1, which I have to include to the part of CSMA that we discussed in the previous video as well, right? That's what we did here. So we created two point-to-point nodes and three CSME nodes. So here itself, if at all, if you want to know, like, as I based on the whatever I had written in the notepad, right? So whatever I had written in the notepad, yes. So as I mentioned, so I'll be creating two point-to-point nodes and three CSME nodes. And similarly, I'll be creating the three Wi-Fi nodes as well. As we quoted, right? We'll be creating the three Wi-Fi nodes as well. If at all, if you want to create now itself, so definitely you can, create by using the same node container itself. Okay, by using the same node container, how to create, let me take you. So yeah, now you see here. So let me copy paste this. Now you see by using the same node container. So instead of PTP nodes, I'll be using some other nodes. Okay. So as I'll say that Wi-Fi station nodes. I repeat, it is the station nodes. As I have already mentioned, so which are all the nodes in your Wi-Fi family, which is it can be basic service set or it can be extended service set. Those nodes are called as stations. Okay, so I call it as station nodes. Okay, Wi-Fi station nodes, and this, how many I'll be creating? I'll be creating three. Based on my analogy, I'll be creating the three station nodes. Then later, so is it not? I'll be creating the three station nodes. But as I mentioned, this zeroth node of point-to-point node, I'll be making to be a access point. So I'll be making the zeroth node of PTP node as access point. So let me make that as well. Yeah. So what I'll do, I'll just can copy paste this. Okay. So here by using the same node container. So here instead of this Wi-Fi station node, I'll be using it as Wi-Fi access point, right? So this is what access point node. So this access point, simply you call it as access point or access point node. Anything you it is left. As there is only one, I will say it as access point. But do I want to create again? You don't have to create again. Is it not? You don't have to create again. This PTP node, whatever you have, okay, zeroth node of P2P node itself will act as what? Access point. So now I'm done with creating the two point-to-point nodes, three CSMA nodes, including the first node one of P2P as CSMA and zeroth node as access point, and creating the three stationary node. Okay, so that's how I'm done with creating the first step, which is creating the nodes, right? So if you want, I can write here creating the nodes. So I'm done with creating the nodes. Next is what? Connecting. So based on the steps I had given, connecting the nodes. what are all the nodes I have created? So all those nodes I have to connect. So what are the nodes I have created? I want to connect the nodes. As I mentioned, I need to, for connecting nodes, I have to make use of one PTP link for connecting the point-to-point devices, CSMA link for connecting the CSMA devices, and more importantly, wireless nodes. And as I already quoted, while creating the wireless links, you have to be configure the physical layer and the MAC layer, right? So while configuring the MAC layer, you should also set the SSID, which is service set identifier. I said in detail in the theory part, like every node in the which is a part of CS, wireless communication should have the respective service set identifier. Then you must also provide the movement option for the Wi-Fi nodes, and there is no need of any movement for the access point. The same story which we are going to implement in our NS3 right now. Yeah. Right. So now you see from here, when I say that we'll be connecting, as usual, I'm creating a point-to-point link. That link is installed between the point-to-point devices, right? So I've created the point-to-point link. That link is installed between the point-to-point devices. Similarly, I'm creating a CSMA link by using a CSMA helper. However, point-to-point link is created by using a point-to-point helper. Similarly, CSMA link is created by using a CSMA helper that is installed between the CSMA nodes, right? By using the same net device container. Is it not? And now it is from here, I need to create the wireless link. So point-to-point link is created, that is installed between the point-to-point nodes. CSMA link is created, that is installed between the CSMA nodes. Right? I'm done with, right? Now I need to create the wireless link, which need to be installed between the wireless nodes. So for that, before you start creating the wireless link, okay, I repeat, before you start creating the wireless link. However, I repeat again. So however, here you can see CSMA helper is used for creating a CSMA link. Point-to-point helper is used to create the point-to-point link. Similarly, I'll be using the Wi-Fi helper for creating the Wi-Fi link. Okay, you can observe it is W caps. Wi-Fi helper for creating the Wi-Fi link. That Wi-Fi link, let me call it as Wi-Fi. But before you can think of creating a Wi-Fi link, as I already quoted, so you must have configured the what physical layer and the data link layer. So whenever you want to, whenever you think of configuring the physical layer and the data link layer, so where can you get it, or how to configure that? In the sense, that is where you will be using one very important network simulator, which we say that YANS. YANS is nothing else yet another network simulator. I repeat, it is yet another network simulator. So YANS Wi-Fi channel, where so that I'll be initializing the channel. So Wi-Fi channel. So I'll be initializing with the default Wi-Fi channel. So I repeat, this is YANS Wi-Fi channel helper. I am initializing the channel. Okay, I'm initializing the channel to the default one. I'm initializing to the default one. Once I'm done with initializing the channel, similarly, I have to initialize the physical layer also. I repeat, I have to initialize the physical layer itself also. So for which what I'll be using in the sense, same YANS Wi-Fi physical helper, PHY helper. So this, now let me call it as PHY. PHY is for physical layer. Keep in mind, it is not physical address or something, it is physical layer. So and that physical layer, whatever you have created here, the object, for that I need to set this channel. Okay, I need to set this channel. So only channel. So whatever the channel you have need to create. Okay, hope it is making sense. So that's how I am creating the channel. What channel I'm creating? Physical channel. See, even before this itself, if you can't create this in the sense, definitely you can create. There's nothing wrong in that. Okay, there is nothing wrong in that, but I'm just going in a logical way. First, I'm creating the channel. Based on that, I'm creating a link, that by using a Wi-Fi helper. Okay, I repeat. So by using a YANS Wi-Fi channel helper, so which I'm setting to the default. So then later by using this Wi-Fi, physical helper, I'm creating a physical link. So that physical layer, which is created based on the based on this channel, right? Then I'm creating the Wi-Fi link. When I say that, then I'm creating a Wi-Fi link based on what? Based on the Wi-Fi helper itself. Now for this Wi-Fi, I need to set the remote station manager, because all these are all the wireless devices. So I need to set the remote set remote station manager. So I need to initialize the remote station manager. So which is that remote station manager we have in the NS3? In the sense we have a standard remote station manager which is NS3 colon colon. It is not semicolon. It is a colon colon ARF a ARF Wi-Fi manager. Okay. So I'm initializing the remote station manager. Once after I'm done with initializing the remote station manager, see if at all if you want to, again I repeat, if you want to do this here itself, there is nothing wrong. So where you are creating the Wi-Fi link, then later you are initializing the physical layer. As I mentioned, for the Wi-Fi link, you have to configure the both physical layer and the data enclaver. As I mentioned, the Mac, you can also call it as a Mac layer. See, this is where you have created the physical layer. Similarly, let you create the a Mac layer. So by using Wi-Fi Mac helper, similarly you have a physical helper. So I'm using the Mac helper, Mac, right? So Wi-Fi Mac helper. So now I have created with the Mac layer, Mac object. For that Mac object, so as I mentioned, so you need to, before you can configure the Mac, so you must define what SSID. So what is SSID? As I already mentioned in the theory, right? So SSID, so SSID is equal to SSID. So here, this is where you have to mention the name. I repeat, it is a name. In my example, you saw, right, like one place, all that. So you can have your own Wi-Fi name. It is a Wi-Fi name for your information. I can say that my Wi-Fi. It is left to you. It is left to you. Whatever the name you would like to have, you can have that name, right? So that's why you'll be defining the SSID, but you have to define the SSID. What name you will be defining, it is left to you, but you must define the SSID for sure. Yeah, next is what? So you have to configure the MAC. So I'll say that set type. What type of MAC I'll be using? So for this, as I mentioned, there are two types of nodes in the Wi-Fi family. One is the stations. That is what stations are nothing as the n number of nodes inside the Wi-Fi network. And the other type of node is what? Access point. Now I'm defining for the station. So I'll say that NS3 colon colon star node. It is a star. Star stands for station node. Star Wi-Fi MAC. Star Wi-Fi MAC M gaps. Star Wi-Fi you know nodes. Then you must also initialize with the SSID. What is SSID? This SSID we already defined here, right? So the same SSID, right? Same SSID. Then SSID, whatever the SSID you are defining. So is it not the same SSID? Means it is the same SSID, whatever you defined here, that only I should consider. So only, so SSID value is already defined. It's already defined. So that's how I'll be configuring what? MAC for the station nodes. So by using NS3, so NS3 colon colon star Wi-Fi MAC. Star stands for station nodes. Star Wi-Fi MAC and SSID I'm defining here as my Wi-Fi. You can say anything. Okay. And similarly, as I have already defined here, I'm just giving that a value. Right. That's how I'm done with creating a Wi-Fi link and defined with the it's configured with the MAC and also the physical layer, and the MAC layer is configured for the Wi-Fi link. Now this Wi-Fi link I need to install. I need to install between the station nodes. I repeat, there are two types of nodes for your information. In the wireless family, there are two types of nodes, right? Which are those? One is the station nodes, which are Wi-Fi station nodes. Keep that in mind. So there are two types of nodes. One is a Wi-Fi station nodes, and one more is what? So access point node. Where is that access point node? Yes, it is here. So we have two types of nodes. One is station nodes. One more is station access point node. Now, whatever the link I have created, okay, whatever the link I have created right now. So this is the Wi-Fi link which I have created. For that link, I have configured both MAC layer and also physical layer. Is it not? So now based on this physical layer and the MAC layer, I need to install this Wi-Fi. Okay, I need to install this Wi-Fi between these station nodes. So only I say that install of this station nodes. While installing, what are you setting? So you are setting, are you configuring based on the physical layer and the MAC layer, right? This physical layer and this MAC layer is configured for this Wi-Fi station nodes, and these, as obviously, even if you remember here, while you install CSMA on the CSMA nodes, what did you made use? You made use of what? Net device container. Similarly here also you have to use net device container. Making sense? Net device container. So here I'll say that you can use any name. Okay, you can use any name. I'll say the star devices. However, you have CSMA device, all that, right? So I'll say star devices. Now star devices is equal to star is for station devices. Keep in mind station. So now I'm done with installing the what this Wi-Fi link. This Wi-Fi link between these Wi-Fi star nodes by configuring the MAC and the physical layer. Making sense? Similarly, I need to configure the MAC. Similarly, again, I need to configure the MAC for the access point, because here, if you observe, it is the station nodes. We configured earlier for station nodes. Now you need to configure for access point nodes. So simple AP, just change AP. AP stands for access point. So now I'm changing the MAC for what nodes? For the access point node. The rest everything is same, right? I'm not change. I don't change the SSID as I quoted already. So if any hotspot, I mean any wireless network is created based on so and so hotspot, in the sense every node should have the same SSID. So you don't have to change anything in this, right? Just you are changing this type. Okay. Then later, as usual, you have these two lines you'll have, which is so net device container. Okay, and this is what these nodes Wi-Fi access point node. So between them only you are installing the this Wi-Fi link, where changed with the MAC layer. It is with the same physical change with the MAC, and this instead of I call it as AP devices. You can call with, okay, here also let me make it as A, right? So now I'm done with connecting the devices by using your Wi-Fi link, right? Once after you are done with connecting based on the Wi-Fi link, right? So what we did till now, it is still here. We connected till here. We are done with till here. Still, we need to work out on this, which is providing the movement, or you call it as mobility, right? That too already mentioned. You need to provide the movement or mobility for the Wi-Fi nodes. You don't have to provide any movement for your access point nodes. Now let me take you to that. Okay. Yeah. So when you say that you need to provide the mobility, so you need to provide the mobility. So I'll be using the mobility manager. I'll be using what? Mobility manager for here we call it as mobility helper. Okay. Mobility, right? So for this mobility, so first before you can provide anything for this mobility, you have to first set the what position. So we call it as position allocator. So only set position. It is a kind of platform where you are providing the mobility. That platform you have to provide. So only it is allocator. Allocator. So set position allocator. So set position allocator is all about where you are providing the platform, where the mobility you are trying to provide, right? So where exactly are you providing? In the sense you are going to provide within the NS3, that platform here as a standard one will be using that grid position allocator. Okay, I'm using the standard position for position allocator, as I already mentioned. This Okay, this allocator, position allocator is nothing else than a platform where you want those nodes need to provide with the mobility, as simple as, okay, which is that standard model here we are providing, which is a grid model. Okay, next for this mobility, we'll be setting whether we need the mobility for the what kind of device. As we have two types. One is the access point and another is a star nodes, which is the station nodes. We need to provide the mobility only to the station node, right? So only set mobility mobility uh, mobility mobility model So as we are working for the stationary station nodes for the first. So NS3 hyphen sorry colon, it is a random walk 2D, as it is where the mobility can happen only in the two dimension. Okay, random walk 2D mobility model. So nodes can move only in the two dimension, not in the I mean, the two dimension is all about left, right on the x-axis, or top, bottom on the y-axis. So now, so this mobility model, whatever you just defined, what mobility model you defined, random walk 2D, that I'll install. Okay, I'll just paste. I'll install on. So I'll install on the first type of nodes. What is the first type of nodes? We have what? Wi-Fi star nodes. So I'm given with mobility for the Wi-Fi standards as what is the standard model? It is a random walk 2D. Okay, random walk 2D mobility model. So where they can move on the what two dimension. So same thing. I'll just copy paste here. Whereas now, so even if I use this same for the Wi-Fi play, access point also, what happens? Even for that also, you'll be providing the movement, but I don't need the movement for the access point. So instead of this random walk 2D mobility model, so instead of that, I have to use the constant position mobility model, constant position mobility model for what? For the access point. So that's where we are set with the mobility. So the nodes can move where they can move in the grid position allocator. So who can move? It is a star nodes, which is station nodes, whereas access point need not to move. So it is for which we are given with the constant. Making sense? Next, so we are done with providing the connectivity. Then we are done with providing the mobility managing. I'll say that managing. Right now, let us move on to the interface. Providing the interface. So when I say providing the interface, as I'm already quoted, you need to install the internet stack. That internet stack first, let me install in the CSMA nodes. Basically, if you really observe, there are even though there are four different types of nodes. Let me for your information, let me now list out them. Later I'll tell you. So there are four different types of nodes. Okay, what are those four different types of nodes in the sense? First one is PTP nodes. Okay, second is CSMA nodes. Third is this Wi-Fi star nodes, right? And the fourth one is Wi-Fi access point, right? Making sense? So like this, four types of nodes are there. But if you really understood, so what is happening basically, if what is happening, CS among the PTP nodes, there are two PTP nodes, right? 0 and 1. 0 is already, which is we made as what? Access point node. And 1 is made as a part of CSMA family, right? So even though we have four different types of nodes, 0 is made as a access point and 1 is made as a part of CSMA family. So in as with these two nodes, which is point-to-point node of 0 and 1 are point-to-point nodes, which are already part of the CSMA and the AP. So you don't have to install this and the point-to-point again. Okay, you don't have to install the point-to-point again. It is not required. Okay, so now again, as usual, let us define the address. So here itself, let me make it so you don't need a separate. Instead of you have it, even if you have it also, no, nothing wrong. Okay, you don't have to get confused. So I'm changing the base address here. So I'm setting the base address here. So again, I'm first defining the PTP interface. So please now let me remove this so that you feel simple. So I'm assigning on the PTP devices. Then I'm changing the base address to the 120, and that for which interface? It is for the CSMA interface. Okay, it is for the CSMA interface. Now, so similarly, I'll change the base address. As I mentioned, we'll be using the three base addresses. There are three different families, so I'll be using the one more base address as, let me say that 30. And this particular address, okay, this particular address I'll be assigning. Okay, I'll be assigning to the other two types of nodes. Which are the other two types of nodes available? Which is what? One is what? Wi-Fi your devices. What devices you have? One is what? Star devices. One is what? Your star devices, and one more is what? AP device. Right? Those are the two types of device which are there left out, right? So If you see here, at with this third base, what base address it is defined, and it is assigned to the two types of devices, which is wireless devices, start devices and AP device. So I'm done with providing the interface. Now I need to make one node as a server. Before we meet any node as server, I'm defining the echo server. And here, as I have to make any node I can make, I repeat, any node I can make it as a server and client. So in my analogy, okay, in my analogy, so let me make it simple. In my analogy, let us consider, so I have drawn so many here, so it is clumsy. Yeah, now you see, let me make this as a server, which is this, it is a CSMA family node. Okay, this I'll make it as server, and among these you can make any node as client, which is a Wi-Fi star nodes family. Making sense? So only here, so I'm making the second node in the CSMA family as what? Server. You can make any node for your information. It is not required to be this itself. If you want to make third node, you make it. If you want to make it a zeroth node, also you can make it. It is not specifically with this. And maximum number of packets here, it is one. I'll make it as 4. You can set anything, maximum number of packets and packet size, interval, all that. Whatever you want to set, okay, you can set it. So there is nothing there's no effect in that. It's all about for the analysis. Okay, then later echo client. So this client, so where in which node I can place. So as we are using the Wi-Fi node, so for your difference, I'll say in the Wi-Fi nodes dot Wi-Fi star nodes, I'll be using, so any node, either you say that get of 1 or get of 2 or get of 0, which is as a what client. Now so the client is the Wi-Fi node, server is the CSMA nodes. That's how the difference. Okay, then later all this story we had in the previous experiment also. So now instead of this Wi-Fi bus, I'll set as Wi-Fi. And so as we have if you saw, we have the different types of devices here. I mean, say different types of links we created. One is the peak, we have as usual point to point link we have, and the CSMA link we have one more link, which is a physical link, right? So we have one more physical link. So for that also, I'll just you can just copy paste. Okay, so here just for your difference, I'll say that Wi-Fi P2P. Here I'll say that Wi-Fi CSMA. Here I'll say that Wi-Fi PHY. It is only for your difference, guys. So okay. Likewise, 3 PK files, as I quoted in the previous experiment itself. If you want to see the results or analyze the results in the animation, then use these lines. If you want to see the results in the Wireshark, in such case, use this it's PCAP files. Create PCAP files. If not, you don't need any PCAP files also, right? So that's how you can. Um, I hope I'm done with all the cases. Let me execute. So let's see if if at all there are any errors. I'll go to the terminal. Sudo sure password. So all this story, where I'm going, what I'm execute, what commands I'm giving, all this it is I hope it is common for you all, because we executed this for many times. Okay, I think we gave something. What is the file name we gave? Let me check it. Okay, I kept it as bus itself. You can change. You can change. So I kept as bus itself. You can change anything. Let's see if at all if there are any errors, we will clear. So in our topology, so remember, or in our program, we are given the all the default packages, which is grid position allocator. We did not customize anything. If you want to customize, you can customize. Even random walk 2D mobility model, constant position, all that we give as a default one only. Okay, there are okay. So what is yeah, that's what. Um, mm, mm, mm. Fine. So it is for 1 second. Yeah, yeah. This is where you know. So comments actually. So I have given the general commenting, which is a hash. So only I'll just remove it off so that it won't be any kind of ambiguity for you. I'll just remove it off. And also one more thing which I forgot. So whatever we have made use, right? So based on the packages we made use, we have to use the respective header files as well. Core module we have used point to point is done. So as we made use of some of Wi-Fi things, right? We have to use that Wi-Fi module. So let us see. Let us use that. I hash include NS3 hyphen Wi-Fi module dot h. So then, so we as we made use of Wi-Fi module, then what else we made use? Okay, we have made use of mobility also. Hash include NS3 hyphen mobility helper. Mobility for the mobility helper, mobility module dot h. Right. So we have made use of mobility model, and we have made use of Wi-Fi module also. So if at all, if you have any errors, let us see. Okay, still errors. So what is that? First one is here, Jan's Wi-Fi channel helper. Okay, spelling mistake, default. You can observe this is the error. Default, yeah, DFAU. Hope it is correct. Okay, PHOS was not declared. Okay, it's not PHYL, it is just a PHY. Let me say it as PHYL helper, right? Let us create, okay, one more Mac dot set type. So Mac dot set type. So okay, set type is what? Uppercase. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Because it is a case sensitive, right? You must able to follow that case sensitivity. Yes, perfect. Now you can observe. So where the communication is complete. So where you can really observe the devices being communicating. When I say the devices are being communicated, so those devices where what is IP of those devices, if you remember. Okay, yeah, if you remember, we assigned the different base address for this wireless nodes, which is 10130. Based on your program, you can observe 10130 we are given. Where is it? Yeah, 10130 we are given for the wireless nodes. As we are given 10130 for the wireless nodes, so here you can observe 10, and also we made the client as which node? Get of 2. So as 10130, 10131 will be the first node, which is 0th node. 10132 will be the first node. 10132 is the second node. So only that is acting as a client. Whereas among the server, for the server we gave 10120, right? So similarly, so where if you see, server, where is that server? It is the, you can observe 10123 is the server IP, right? So communication is being happening. Now, okay, you can observe maximum per trace file is exceeded. See what is happening as we are simulating here. Simulation cannot be for lifetime, right? So you explicitly you need to stop the simulation. I repeat, explicitly you need to stop the simulation. So only here, if you observe, it is not stopping. So let me stop it before you run the simulator. Okay, this is where you need to, so this simulator. So let me highlight here. Okay, you need to stop the simulator. So stop of any seconds, right? So basically these seconds you fix it based on the source, I mean it's a client server, time seconds. It is 10 seconds here. It also you're given 10 seconds, right? Here also let me use as 10 seconds. There's no restriction to be like this, but have do maintain that equality. So I'll forcefully close this. I'll execute again. Now, but fantastic. Now you can see the respective source is client is 110.133 among the Wi-Fi nodes, and 123 is the server, which is among the what CSMA nodes, right? So now let me list out. So analyze changing the parameters and analyzing that I taught in the previous sessions. Only that only you can follow here. Also, you can change whatever the values you want and analyze. Okay, if I list out, you can observe based on my Wi-Fi, XML file. It is Wi-Fi.xml. Is it available? Yes, it is available. Similarly, does the PK files all created? Wi-Fi P2P, Wi-Fi CSMA, Wi-Fi PHY. You can observe Wi-Fi CSMA, P2P, PHY. All the PK files are created. As I have quoted, you can open the Wireshark. You can open in the Wireshark. You can open any file. Okay. If I want to open this, let's assume where is a yeah. Let me open this Wi-Fi PHY. Okay. I'll say 30 PCAP. You can open any PCAP file and start analyzing in the Wireshark. Okay, when you will be analyzing, when you want to analyze in the Wireshark, then only you created a PK files, right? So this is how you can observe the communication in the wireless. So if you want to see all the parameters, even what is the data, you can observe this information and keep changing the filters. Change the filters and analyze. If not, if you want to capture sound, so you can statistics. If you want to see the IO graph, you can see all this. It is left to the an individual. If you what are all the analysis, what you want to make out. Okay, this is based on your analysis requirement. Similarly, you can open the with this XML file as I mentioned in the previous itself. So if to open, so first you get into the netanim folder. Get into the netanim folder. It is because I have mentioned this. So you will be having your animation. You can achieve only from the netanim folder. So you need to get into this netanim folder. Then there type what slash dot slash netanim. Now let me open the file name. What is the file name we are given? XML file. It is the wifi.xml, right? So wifi.xml. Let me open that wifi.xml. This is where you can observe. So I just opened wifi.xml. Let me simulate. So when you can observe, this is where you have to observe. So this is the which is acting as 0, acting as what access point. In the range of that access point, all the nodes will be these 567 will be keep moving, whereas these will not be moving. These are the nodes which are created based on the CSMA. And these are the two nodes which are created based on point to point, whereas these nodes are Wi-Fi nodes, which has a minute movement you can observe clearly. So you can observe, so where the nodes will be keep moving. So where the time of communication, it is happening through this access point only. And definitely, so you can observe the movement of these nodes, which is 5, 6, 7, which are considered to be a wireless nodes. You can change the panel. So right here, we made use of just a simple grid panel. You can change the grid panel. Even the size of the grid panel, you can vary. Size, speed of the movement, you can vary. And all those changes, you can, whatever you want to do, you can do in this program, in these lines. You can keep changing. Right now I have set all as a default one. If you want to configure in the different way, however you want, you can change, right? So now I gave very default case how the nodes can communicate. Which nodes? Wireless nodes. Wireless client is sending to the wired server. That's how we are simulated, right? So that's about the program for the day. So hope it is understood. If you have any queries, you can ask. Fine, there are no queries. So as I mentioned, you can check the analysis in the network animator, otherwise in the terminal itself by changing the parameters. Otherwise, open the PCAP files and check it in the Wireshark. Okay, like this. Open in the Wireshark and check the results and analyze the results in the Wireshark. Right. Thank you.